Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's Wednesday. It's October 12th. We are at day 2 of the NHL hockey season. We're going to talk about what the NHL algorithm is doing so far this season. It's a hodgepodge of last year's stats and current year players and stuff right now. So it's not really fully set up for the current year yet because not every team has played one game yet, but it's still giving us predictions and we will look over them. All right. So yesterday it goes 1-1. The Rangers do win 3-1, and the algorithm predicted they would win 3-2 or a 3-3 tie type game. So they got to their goals and they held Tampa Bay to fewer goals. Shesterkin, of course, played well. So that's a win for the algorithm. And also fairly low scoring game. So that looks pretty good right there. Then the other game, this looks really good. When these colors are similar, then the algorithm's doing a pretty good job. Here, this game between Vegas and LA has 7 goals, but we get the winner wrong. Vegas wins this game, and they actually, get to their exact score prediction of 3.5 rounds to 4. It's just that they held LA, and they outplayed LA later in that game. I'll listen to a little bit of that. So not a bad day to start off. Let's talk about today, where we have 6 games. So I did a little review into the file to try to figure out what is happening with the scores because they look a little bit higher than they should be. But they're kind of, they're a little bit higher. It's just because they're using the full season stats from last year, and I think that just bumps things up a little bit based on how it's gone. But we'll know more when the current season stats start going in here next week. I think is when that will happen. Probably like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is when that will probably start. So we'll just go with what we have for now, but it's not perfect, but we'll do what we can. So it has Toronto beating Montreal and putting up a bunch of goals, like 6 or 7 goals. Goals, like I said, goals, like I would look at all these and say that the goals are probably 1 or 2 goals higher than they probably should be for almost every team in a lot of ways. So keep that in mind as we're looking at this. But it does say that this game isn't over, and that Toronto wins it. The line's not great though, and Montreal that did not win a game in the preseason, I believe. So watch out there. Although we are St. Louis fans over here. I'm actually in Vermont right now. I am at the alma mater of Martin St. Louis, where he played college hockey and took the team to the Final Four in 1995, I believe. Boston versus Washington. I'm closer to Boston than I am to Washington. And we're Caps fans as well. And it says the Caps can win this game 3.6 to 2.3. So a 3 or 4 to 2-ish type game. They're minus 140. Darcy Kemper looking okay in net in the preseason game that I saw. I think he brings some stability with a Stanley Cup ring there to this team. So says that that's a kind of reasonable line for this game, given that it's 1.7 ish goal differential. So it says even the Caps will cover the minus 1.5. See what happens there. Columbus and Carolina. Here's another big favorite game for Carolina. Thinks they win this game 5-2. Yeah, tough line, but does think Carolina wins that game. Chicago and Colorado. With Georgiev in net for Colorado. Notice this creates a game with 9.4 goals. Mrazek in Colorado. What is the over-under set in that game? I'd like to see that. It is set at only 6.5. This is one where I would have expected the over-under to show a 7 in this game. And if you can get that at 5.5 or 6.5, or 6 or something like that, there's a lot of reasons with this goaltending, because now you've got a Colorado team that doesn't have Darcy Kemper and they have Georgiev, and you can see Georgiev's rating is he's no Shesterkin. That's where he used to play, but with the Rangers, I believe. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. The minus 400, I don't think is worth it, because even though Chicago's playing terrible, I don't know how you're going to see with Georgiev in that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Vancouver and Edmonton. Here favors Edmonton 5-2-ish. Goaltending matchups a little bit closer with that. Thatcher Demko's rating a little closer to Jack Campbell's. I don't know how I feel about that minus 189 line. But you look at the adjusted powers, that kind of tells you, like, the most powerful team of the day, for example, is Carolina. at 62%, at 63%. So it's another way to look at this list. If you don't want to necessarily look at projected scores so much, but you want to be like, well, where's the most powerful difference? There's a margin, and it's the difference between the adjusted powers, and I can write a formula to show what it is. But here it's 33% margin for Toronto. And here it's a 22% margin for Carolina, but Carolina is a stronger raw power team at 63%. And the reason why is because Frederik Andersen is a better goaltender than Matt Murray. So there's a couple different things to look at here, but like the number one pick of the day, for example, if we open up things to show an additional layer of formulas which do not work yet because we don't have streaks yet. Like haven't been any games played really yet for the season. So a lot of this doesn't work yet, which is why I hit it. However, let's remove the power projected score for a second and remove the goalie differential for a second. And we'll just leave the pick rank for now. I'll worry about the rest of this stuff next week when we get current stats in there. But the pick rank, I believe, is still valid because it's the pick rank based on this adjusted power. So yeah, it does say Carolina is number 1. It says Colorado is number 2, Toronto number 3, Edmonton number 4, Washington all the way down at number 5. And this Seattle Anaheim game is the game where you bet the regulation draw because it is coming out with even all around goals and a tie is what it's saying in this game. Very, very close there. And the lines are, the lines are almost in order, except that we think Carolina is stronger than Colorado, barely. And the line is not as bad. So a lot of interesting stuff coming out of the NHL algorithm. It will evolve, and it will be at least 3 days, I think, before we can start incorporating this season stats, simply because every team has to have played one game. And it's almost important that every goalie plays one game as well. Because I'm tempted to continue to use last season's goalie stats for longer than a week, because you want to get these goalies at least a start and hopefully a couple starts. All right. Anywho, that's the update for NHL. And I'll be fielding questions on this and continuing to do updates, especially showing how this works once we get current season stats in here. It's not worth it to do a how-to tutorial video right now because I'm doing weird stuff with it as we're combining 2 seasons worth of stats. But that will end next week. And then we'll be able to go through the how-to tutorial so you can update this yourself. All right. So good luck, everybody. May all our picks be winning. I'm rooting for the Caps, but I got to tell my son, I'd be like, you know what? The Caps are only the 5th pick of the day. So the algorithm, while it does think they will win, it's a little concerned because Swayman's goaltending is pretty good. Look at that green number there at 70%. Swayman is basically the 4th best goalie on this list, going up against the 2nd best goalie on this list in Darcy Kuemper. So good luck, everybody, and may all your picks be winning.